Look at John. John is a master of the spreadsheet. He has spent the last 3 hours color-coding his expenses. He knows exactly how many cents he spent on eggs, and he's decided that if he just cancels his Netflix and stops buying premium toilet paper, he'll finally be free. John is doing everything the gurus told him to do. He's budgeting. But here's the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to tell him. John is rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. The ship is still sinking, and his little spreadsheet isn't a life raft. If you've ever felt like a failure because your perfect budget didn't make you rich, welcome back to the broken system. Today, we're exposing why budgeting is the ultimate gaslighting tool of the 21st century. Before we break John's heart and save his mind, hit that subscribe button. It's time to stop counting pennies and start counting the lies. Let's look at John's nursery math. John earns $3,000 a month. His rent is $1,500. His car, insurance, and gas take another $700. Utilities, groceries, and basic survival eat the rest. John's discretionary income, the money he actually gets to choose how to spend, is exactly $54. The financial gurus tell John that if he invests that $54 instead of buying a pizza, he'll be a millionaire in 40 years. They forget to mention that in 40 years, a loaf of bread will cost $54 thanks to the inflation the system creates. Budgeting assumes the problem is John's spending habits, but the real problem is that John's cost of survival is rising faster than his ability to breathe. Why is budgeting so popular? Because it shifts the blame. If the system is broken, it's the government's fault. But if your budget is broken, it's your fault. The system loves the budgeting narrative because it keeps John looking down at his receipts instead of looking up at the banks. It's the perfect distraction. While John is feeling guilty about a $10 lunch, the central banks are printing trillions, devaluing every hour John worked this year. Budgeting is like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon while a tsunami is roaring toward the shore. Tell me in the comments, do you feel guilty every time you buy something that isn't a necessity? That guilt is the system's way of keeping you quiet. Budgeting is a defensive strategy. It's about restriction. It's about, no, but you can't, no, your way to wealth when the floor is falling. If John's income stays the same, but the price of eggs doubles and his landlord raises the rent by 20%, no amount of frugality can save him. You cannot budget your way out of a systemic currency devaluation. The system wants John to believe he has a spending problem, so he doesn't realize he has an income to inflation problem. John is trying to win a game where the referee moves the goalposts every time he kicks the ball. Let's talk about the survival tax. In the broken system, it is incredibly expensive to be poor. Because John is on a tight budget, he can't buy in bulk. He buys the cheap tires that wear out in a year instead of the good ones that last 3. He pays his insurance monthly with a convenience fee, because he doesn't have the cash to pay the full year up front. His budget is so tight that one broken tooth or one flat tire sends him into a high-interest debt spiral. Budgeting doesn't account for the fact that the system is designed to penalize you for not already being rich. John has been on a strict budget for 6 months. He feels like he's in prison. He's tired, he's bitter, and he's socially isolated because he can't afford to meet friends for a drink. Eventually, John snaps. He goes on a revenge spending spree and buys something expensive just to feel human for 5 minutes. Then, the guilt hits. He goes back to the spreadsheet, adds a new line for failure, and the cycle repeats. Budgeting creates a scarcity mindset that actually makes John worse with money in the long run. It turns his life into a constant state of not enough. Here is the secret John doesn't know. The people John is trying to emulate don't budget the way he does. They don't count pennies, they manage assets. While John is cutting coupons, the wealthy are taking out low-interest loans against their portfolios to buy more real estate. The system is designed to reward those who own things and punish those who only earn things. John's budget is focused on outflow, but the game is won on inflow and ownership. You can't budget a zero-asset life into a high-net-worth future. It's mathematically impossible. Let's go back to John's nursery math. If John saves $100 today, and the official inflation rate is 7%, though we all know it's higher, that $100 is only worth $93 next year. In 10 years, John's savings have lost half their power. The system is a giant vacuum cleaner that sucks the value out of John's bank account while he sleeps. Budgeting tells John to save for a rainy day, but the system ensures that by the time it rains, John's umbrella has been stolen by the bank. I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. How many budgets have you started and stopped in the last 5 years? And be honest. Did the failure make you feel like you just weren't disciplined enough? Look at me. It's not your lack of discipline. It's the fact that you're trying to solve a macroeconomic disaster with microeconomic tools. John is currently staring at a $5 latte like it's a crime scene, while the government just voted to devalue his life savings by another 10%. Who's the real criminal here? The system doesn't want John to have a surplus. It wants him to have a manageable debt. If John has a surplus, he has power. If he has debt, he is a servant. Budgeting is often just a way for the system to make sure John has just enough money to keep paying his interest on time. It's not about John getting ahead, it's about John staying current. The spreadsheet isn't a map to freedom, it's a ledger of his servitude. They tell John he has choices. He can choose the generic brand. He can choose to walk instead of drive. But does he really have a choice about the cost of healthcare? Does he have a choice about the property taxes that fund the school he needs for his kids? The biggest expenses in John's life are non-negotiable and dictated by the system. Budgeting gives John the illusion of control over the small things so he doesn't notice he has zero control over the big things. So, if budgeting is a lie, what's the truth? The truth is that you cannot defend your way to freedom. John needs to stop focusing on how to shrink his life to fit his income and start focusing on how to expand his reality. This doesn't mean hustle culture nonsense. It means understanding that the only way to beat a broken system is to stop playing by its rules. John needs to stop being a consumer who budgets and start being an investor in his own skills, time, and assets. The first step is to kill the guilt. If John wants the $5 coffee, he should buy it. That coffee isn't why he's broke, the housing market is. Reclaiming the mental energy he spends on penny pinching is his most important investment. When John stops obsessing over the small stuff, his brain finally has the space to see the big opportunities. He stops being a victim of the spreadsheet and starts being the architect of his escape. Budgeting is a tool for the system to keep you small. It's time to think bigger. If you're ready to stop blaming yourself for a financial crisis you didn't create, subscribe to Broken System. We're tearing down the myths that keep John, and you, in chains. In our next video, we're going to show you exactly how the banks use your savings against you. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching. Put the spreadsheet away for tonight. Take a breath. You aren't a failure. You're just living in a world that wasn't built for you to win. But now that you know, you can start building your own. Check out our other video on the channel about the psychology of poverty. It's the perfect companion to what we talked about today. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.